Hello and welcome to episode 105 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This episode is going to be on us making a bow rack so we can store our bows, a quiver so we can store our arrows, and an archery target. Basically items to prepare us for the next episode which will be on archery. So there are reasons why you would want to have the 3 different bows. Not least of all is to find out which one you prefer using. So it's a good idea to have storage for them. Especially if you're in a village with a few people and they're all wanting to keep their own bows, so you can just have one storage point. And then so you can make a building to keep all your archery needs and put a bow rack in there. So I thought it would be nice if we make a bow rack to start this episode. Before we get to making the bow rack though, here are some notes from the wonderful Wurmpedia. The wood type of the rack is determined by the last piece of wood adding during construction. Well, that you should know because I have kept mentioning that throughout most of the episodes. The best wood to use is cedar, as it will rot the slowest. That's just something I've additionally added in myself. I believe cedar, in my opinion, is the best wood to use. The bow rack can hold 100 short bows, or 89 normal bows, or 67 long bows. To continue building it, it must be on the ground. It cannot be picked up once finished, though it can be pulled and rotated. Making a bow rack uses the fine carpentry skill. And lastly, the materials to make a bow rack are as follows: 1 small nail, 10 planks and 7 pegs. So as you can imagine, I will be using as my last component a cedar plank, so it's going to be a cedar bow rack. Okay, let's make a bow rack. So we're going to use the crafting system, and you can see I've already typed in bow and a space which will give us the bow rack. And as you can see, here's the materials that I've just listed to you: 10 planks, 7 pegs and 1 nail. Okay, so let's grab these items from my cart. So we want 9 planks. The 10th plank I'll leave till last, so let's count out 9. Okay, that's the planks. We want 1 small nail and 7 pegs. All of these items I've shown you how to create. The pegs would have been in the rowboat episode, and the small nails through numerous episodes, just like the planks. Okay, let's now add that to the... I'm going to put my bow rack... I mean, I've got a real mess going on here, although I don't claim to be any sort of design artist or anything like that. I just work in a complete organised mess. So there's my armour stand. There is another armour stand, so I thought to harmonise I'll put a bow stand in this corner. I'm not sure what to put in the other corner, I'll figure it out eventually. Okay, so we're going to put it here. So let's add the bow rack to the crafting window and check that it is the bow rack. It is indeed. So let's whack that down to 1 because I don't want to make numerous. Create. Okay, so there we are. It's dropped on the ground, and now we can continue. So we'll right click on the unfinished bow rack, add to the crafting window, and now we just need to add the remainder of the materials. So we're going to do the pegs first because they're out of linden wood. So drop them in, whack that to 4 and continue. Okay, now let's do the planks. And now we'll put the cedar one in last, and that will make it a cedarwood bow rack. What does it say at the moment? Yeah, so it's saying birchwood, but we'll add the cedar, continue, bang, we have ourselves a cedarwood bow rack. Now if we double left click on it, you'll see that it's a nice quality, because I did use relatively nice materials. So you'll see it's 31 quality level. I'm not going to imp that up anymore, because that's good enough for me. That should last a good long time. So now what we'll do, let's show the use of it. Okay, so rather than keeping my bows in the cart, my 1 quality level bows, which I am going to have to address the quality levels of my bows before the next episode, which is on archery. Because I want to be promoting archery, not demoting archery by using quality level 1 items. I want to promote it. I want to show you that archery can be worth the time you invest in it. Now I'm going to go into archery and all the factors, try to cover all of the factors involved to do with archery, but just in case I forget this, I'm going to mention it now. One of the most important factors to do with archery is the armour you're wearing. Notice I'm getting a -15 penalty on my archery with the armour that I'm currently wearing, which is chain. So please, if you're going to be a ranger, bear that in mind. You will not be using chain armour, you'll be using leather armour, which I do not believe has any. I'm not going to comment no more. I will have a look into the armours to see which one's best to use, so no comment for now. Just pay heed though what armour you're wearing if you're going to get into archery. Right, okay, so there's our bows. As you can see, you can just drop them in. I'm going to imp them up to make them a bit more reasonable. I'll do that off camera. Okay, so there we have somewhere to store now our bows if I create more. Okay, moving on. Okay, now for some notes on the quiver, because the quiver is the next item that we're going to cover in this episode. And we're going to make a quiver or two. A quiver is a container that holds up to 41 arrows and is worn on your back or hips. So when I make the quiver, I'm going to make a point of slotting it in so you can see where it goes on the body. When shown on the player model, the quiver will not show arrows inside, even if the quiver does contain arrows. So an important point to make there, that when I put the quiver on, okay, if I put it on my back slot, you'll see an empty quiver, even if there are arrows inside of the quiver. It's just the animation for it, the graphic for it doesn't show arrows in the quiver. I guess they'll address that at some point. Right, okay, moving on. The order in which arrows are fired, and I know I've mentioned this, but I'll mention it again because it is important, is the quiver on your back or hip slot first, then the quiver in your inventory, then any loose arrows in your inventory. Now, one thing to pay note to with that, if your quiver in your inventory is empty, you will not then shoot any loose arrows from your inventory or from any other quivers inside your inventory. So the first quiver, if it is empty, will then ignore all the other quivers and arrows in your inventory. That's a way for controlling which arrows you use. Okay, moving on. Making a quiver uses the leatherworking skill. To make a quiver, you will need a needle and leather. Okay, so let's make a quiver. Let's bring up the crafting window and let's type in quiver. Okay, so you will see it's going to use leatherworking. needle and lever. And just to show you, my lever working is not too shabby. It's on 41.92, because in order to get the lever, of course, I had to turn a load of hides into lever, which was fortunate that I'd been practicing with that previously. Okay, let's make a quiver. So I'm going to need to grab some leather. You can see I've been prepared. Let's just grab one. Let's grab the lowest quality, in fact, why not? Okay, let's now add the quiver to the crafting window. Right, there we are, that's the quiver. And what I will do is, let's see how much material it uses for each quiver, shall we? So you can see it's used 28. There we go, 2 quivers is enough. No point in having any more than that. Simply because I want to demonstrate 1 quiver in my hip slot and 1 quiver in the inventory. In the archery episode, archery episode, I will demonstrate the arrows being used from the quivers and the arrow shafts as well. Okay, so let's just check my notes, make sure I've not skipped over anything that I wanted to mention. Okay, now I don't think I've got any arrows with me, so just to quickly show you though, let's go grab some let's see, let's find the war arrows. I think I've done a few of them. Yeah, I've done 4, so let's grab 3, why not? Okay, just to show you how to put arrows into your quiver, simply drag, drop. Nice and simple. There you go. At least I've shown you now once how to do that. I know to some of you might be frowning and shouting at me, you idiot, that's obvious, but you know, I presume nothing, and that means that I like to try and show everything at least once. Okay, so we got arrows in there. What I'm going to do, take them out because it's time to move on to the next subject, which is the archery target. All things archery. Okay, now to make this next item, we aren't, oh wait, let's first show you equipping the quiver. Okay, so we'll bring up our body. I'll right click on this quiver, and you see you can equip it to a specific slot. Now I've got my backpack in my back, so I want to equip it to the hip slot. I can either drag and drop it to the hip slot, or if I can't remember where the hip slot is, I can simply go equip specific hip slot. Bang, there we go, job done. It's now in the hip slot. So there we go. Okay, so I mean, if you was a real ranger, you'd have 1 quiver in your back, 1 quiver in your hip, and about 10 or 20 quivers in your inventory, because they only hold 41, which is a bit sad. I wish they'd held 1,000 arrows, because you go through arrows like anything in this game. Right, okay, anyway, let's now get on the wagon and travel to where I want to put the archery target. Now, of course, with the different bows, with the longbow is a 20 tile gap between you and the target. So if I want to demonstrate using the archery target with my longbow, I've got to make sure I build it 20 tiles away. So what we're going to do is I'm going to count now 20 tiles. And there we go, this is the 20th tile, so this is where I'll place it. Okay, first a few notes on the archery target. An archery target is a board with numbered circles around a central bullseye bit like a dartboard, used for practicing archery and bow skills. It will score hits ranging from a measly 0 to a perfect 10. So you best be using the short bow so you can see the messages. I don't know, we'll have to test a long bow to see if you see the messages. It is used for training archery and bow skills. I'm sure I mentioned that already, but anyway, there we are. There's the obvious laid out for you as usual by the idiot the gamester. Okay, moving on. Can no longer gain skill if at least 30 skill in even one individual bow or at least 40 in the main archery skill. So let's bring up the skills. Okay, what that's saying is there are, as you know, down in this list we have archery. So it's saying as soon as one of your bow skills reaches 30 or your archery skill reaches 40, you will not be able to train anymore using the archery target. Now, why am I even bothering to mention this to you? Well, because in the wiki, in the archery page, I believe, it by mistake states that you can get 30 skill in all your different bows using it. So once you get your short bow to 30, you can then keep using the archery target to get your medium bow to 30 and then your long bow to 30. Well, they've obviously changed that and it's not been updated on the wiki, so there's a heads up for you. Now you can only train one of your bow skills to 30. So what you would do is you will use your short bow till it gets to 29, medium to 29, long bow to 29 on the archery target, and then you will think about which you want to be your main bow. I would say, well, I think I'm going to go with the short bow because I don't like being too far away. I don't know though, I'll have to think about that, not giving it any thought. But anyway, the bow you decide on then is the bow to get to 30. But if you get them all to 29, you're all nearly there anyway. So there we go. How cool is that? That's unless of course your archery hasn't got to 40 by the time you've been doing all these to 29. We will see. Anyway, enough of the waffle. Let's get on with the show, or whatever this is. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably not, well, a show of incompetency. Okay, so continuing on. Drops from inventory upon completion. Cannot be picked up. Arrows fired at the archery target will be on the same tile and can be retrieved if they do not break. Okay, best to use arrow shafts to train with when using an archery target, as they will do less damage to your archery target, and so will the archery target will then last longer. Plus, of course, arrow shafts are very easy to make, and the material to make them, wood, is abundant. Well, will be once you've got your forest on the go, although I'm pretty much sure by all of you getting to this episode you should have some huge forests around you, like I've got on this island now. Okay, so let's now make ourselves an archery target. Let's bring up the crafting window to see what we need. Oh, what am I getting rid of that for? Okay, so we're going to type in archery, and there it is. Now, I did not even know that that existed. How fantastic is that? There, my friends, is another episode, and that will be a good one. For now though, let's stick to the topic that I'm supposed to be on. So the materials you will need for making an archery target are 7 large nails, 4 mixed grass, 4 planks, 1 rope and 2 shafts. Okay, let's now grab them materials, because I have been a little prepared. Let's put Quiver up there. Okay, and let's get the lever out the way because we really don't need that at the moment. Okay, so 2 shafts, 4 mixed grass, 7 large nails, 4 planks. Oh, so now you're asking me, what's the best wood to make the archery target? You're saying game for your slipping. You've told us with all the other items you build what the best wood is to use in order to make the item. Why have you not bothered telling us what the best wood is for this item? Well, to put it quite simple, okay, there's either 2 reasons why you're going to have an archery target. One is to roleplay your area, to make it look like a land of rangers, and so you'll want to dot around archery targets, in which case you would use cedar because it will rot the slowest. But if you are going to be using your archery target to practice your archery, it is inevitable that that archery target is eventually going to be destroyed, regardless of what wood you're going to use. So I guess I could interject the question, what wood slows the damage? Well, to be honest with you, I haven't got a clue. Even if there is one, I don't know if there is a wood. I mean, I know that with oak, and you make tools, it takes damage less often, but whether that means making an archery target out of oak, because it's not actually a tool, it's a training. Oh, anyway, where am I going? Where am I waffling to with this? For goodness sake, just make your archery target out of whatever wood you've got the most of. There, nice and simple. So there we go, 4 planks. And lastly, 1 rope. There we go, that's all the materials. Let's now make our archery target. Now, of course, I'm going to be firing from that away. So what I want to do is make sure it's facing that away. So I'm going to face this away and place my target. Okay, so let's now add the archery target. And let's create. Just make sure it is. Yes, well, you can rotate the archery target, so I'm not too worried if it's facing the moon. Right, anyways, let's now add that to the crafting window. And now let's get adding the materials. We're not bothered what wood it's made out of, so it doesn't matter what order we add. I guess out of habit though, I'm adding the wood last. At least it's a good habit. There we go, and now the planks. Okay, there we go. Now let's see if I've been lucky and it's actually facing the right direction, which is probably not. Oh wow, bullseye, spot on. Because, like I say, in the next episode, we are going to use this archery target and I'm going to demonstrate all 3 bows for you. How good am I? How kind am I to you, the viewer? Very considerate. There we go though. We've now prepared ourselves with making a few more items. I hope now you're all starting to realise that archery is a lot more involved than simply making a bow, making an arrow and off you go hunting. If you do that, you're going to be dead. Or you're going to be hunting nothing better than chickens, and then you're going to be spending all day, like I've mentioned previously, trying to hit a chicken, not killing it but trying to hit it. So please appreciate, with archery in Wurm, whether it be Wurm Online or Wurm Unlimited, there are many factors to do with how good you shoot your bow, and remember, one of them is your armour. Okay, that's really all I've got to say in this episode. The next episode will actually be on archery. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep every last one of you safe. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Goodbye.